Right, well today I'm tying one of my own concoctions, and this sort of goes back to when I first learned how to do Klinkhammer style flies, or post and hackle, however you want to call it, type flies. And I basically just Klinkhammered everything. So I had a Klinkhammer pheasant tail and a Klinkhammer grey duster, you get the idea. And this was a mismatch of two of my favourite flies, the Beacon Beige and Adams, but tied in a Klinkhammer style. Now in these larger sizes, this has become my favourite fly for the duo, or New Zealand style if you like. And then if you tie it on a smaller sort of grub or shrimp hook, so not really a Klinkhammer now, but a smaller fly like this, then it's really great for the faster water on rivers like the Tean and the Tor and up on the moors. There do seem to be days when the fish prefer a fly that fishes a bit like an iceberg, so a proportion of it is sitting underneath the surface film. Whether they can see it better because of the light patterns or something, I don't know, but definitely do seem to be days when this will outfish a high riding dry fly. Right, well the hook I'm using for this is a Hens, and it's BL550, says Klinkhammer, pupa, nymph. And once again I'm going to use the nano silk in an 18-0. Put a bit of wax on it. And the first thing I'm going to do is just run down and then back up the shank and get the posts and the hackles tied in. Anybody who's seen my video I did of the Adams, you'll know that I like to do these flies in 2 stages, which will become apparent later on. And for the post I'm using some amber Zelon. You can use whatever you like. And I tend to tie mine in like a spent spinner wings, and then lift it up and make the post from that. Right, so the hackles we're going to be using a ginger and a grizzle. There's something about this mixture of these two hackles that just looks right on the fly. So I tied them on here and just run them back and then up the post Now we're going to wind down, tie the body in. And on my vise I can tip it forwards. Just hopefully you can still, yeah, just about see that in the camera. Just stops the thread from falling down the back of the shank of the hook all the time. Tie it in there. And for the body I'm going to use a feather from the eye of the peacock, and we're going to strip it off. Just going to use a rubber to strip the flue off of the feather. Now you will find that not all of the rubbers you buy are equal when it comes to this. Some of them will be too soft and they'll just rub away to nothing. Other ones are too hard and they just break the material all the time. So once you get one that works, just make sure you guard it with your life. Tip this back up again. So we're going to do the peacock quill to about here, and then muskrat fur underneath the two hackles. So that's the mixture of the Beacon Beige and the Adams. So with this peacock quill I'm going to put some varnish on the thread. Just helps to protect it a little bit from fishy mouths. According to David Collier in his excellent book Fly Dressing, this is a Richard Walker tip. So he wasn't just catching carp, he caught all sorts of fish. Right, so just wind this around. You will have a banding on the quill, but I like to try and leave a little gap so that the black thread can show through. Just makes it look a bit more segmented in my view. Up to there and tie it off. Okay, now for the muskrat. You could use whatever grey fur you want. Some rabbit underfur or mole or synthetic grey dubbing. I tend to do a little figure of 8 round the post. Right, and now I'm just going to finish that off there. Right, well, normally what I would do would be to tie up a batch of these, about 6 or 8. So I'd varnish this head here now, head cement, and then put them aside to dry. But just so we can carry on, I'm going to ignore that for now. So just assume that this is all dried now. I'll turn it around in the vise. And now I've got some even thinner stuff. I think this is 20O. It's mad. I'm going to reintroduce this onto the post. And I found with this really thin stuff I can get away with scissors. And we're going to wind it down right into the body as much as we can go. Right, well, you might notice a bit of a cut in the filming then. I generally like to try and do these just in one go because I think it looks better and it's more like real time. But the camera just ran out of battery. So I'm just going to pick it up from here where I was about to wind these hackles on. I did think about going through it all again, but I'm not doing that. Oh, might have got the camera slightly closer than before. What a pain. Anyway, I'm going to put on about 4 to 5 turns each of these hackles, remembering that these are going to be holding up a 2 to 3mm bead, so I've plenty of hackle on it. Don't really go much heavier than that on our little streams. I'm sure if you were Euro nymphing you could do. I'm still yet to master that, if I ever will. Okay, what I'm going to try and do now then is to pull all these fibres upwards and get the silk in behind. Not always easy, you don't always get them all, but ideally I want all the hackle above. If there's any rogue bits pointing downwards afterwards, just trim them off. Right, whip finish in there. And again, I'd normally put some varnish in there, but we'll carry on for now. Right, so there's a couple there. Just spin it round, what's the other side like? Yeah, not too bad. Couple there. Okay. Right, I'll just trim the wing off. It's coming at a slight angle there. And we're done. Right, well, I hope some of you have some success with that. This used to be one of my dad's favourite flies, especially for up on the moor. I think one year it was pretty much all he used. Right, see you on the next one.